Recording in progress.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
right.
right.
Oh my God, that's fun.
Okay. Good evening. This is the Village of Lake Bluff Architectural Board of Review, Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Okay, Member Cottrell,
Here.
Member Kerouac,
Here.
Member Straight Up.
Here.
Member Wicks.
Here.
And Chair Hunter.
Here.
Okay, members Stallman and Deegan are absent, but we have a quorum.
Good. Okay, item number 2, consideration of February 4th minutes. Any comments, corrections, wonderments?
I move to approve as submitted.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from Feb 4th?
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, number 3 is any any members of the audience, either public or in the audience or online, that would like to talk to something that is not on the agenda. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
There's no one online.
Okay. All right, nobody out here that's, all right, then moving on. Number 4 is a consideration of a sign permit for Floatstone at 57 East Scranton Avenue. Anybody here to talk to that? No. Okay, so it's up to us then, unless somebody's going to be online. What do you think?
Yeah, I was expecting
We're supposed to
Matt
be here?
right here. Maybe we should go on to the 71 Waukegan Road. item and
Okay.
come back.
Let's do that one then.
Maybe let they'll arrive. Yeah.
So the next one is interesting, if you recall. The North Shore signage at 71 Waukegan Road.
Oh, here's Floatstone. Come on in.
Oh, there we go.
Is this it?
It is
Okay.
Floatstone.
All right, we're gonna back up and we'll go to you. So you're on.
Come,
the DS.
come on up
Yeah.
to the
Your
podium
name,
and bend that microphone.
name and
towards you
address,
and
and
tell us.
is there one there?
Yep, there is.
So tell us your name and then tell us what you're about.
Sure. So my name is Matt Brueggemann. I'm the owner of Floatstone Spa right down the street on Scranton Avenue. You know, I've owned the business now for just over a year. I purchased it from the previous owner and kept the same name and a lot of the same sort of feel of the spa. But one of the things we did is we went through a rebranding over the holidays and over through the new year to kind of bring forwards a little bit more of my long-term vision for the business and to properly represent that to obviously our storefront. I was hoping to just redo the vinyl stickers that were on the glass. A lot of them, well, on our particular storefront, it's aging a little bit, it's chipped, it doesn't look quite as crisp and clean as it probably did when it was first installed, and of course, as much as I would like to see it move forwards through. And I think the only issue foreseeable that we see is that the graphics are, as far as your just base width and breadth, are over the maximum margin for what is normally allowed for rebranding. However, I was really hoping to be able to get an exception for that, mostly because the proportions for the window make sense when you put it with the size that it is spec'd with my graphic designer. And then also, one of the things we did was we simplified the design, we simplified the color, we simplified some of the weight of the font so that even though it is a larger quote unquote square footage, the actual weight and visibility through the logo is a lot better. And you know, the other thing that I was really trying to represent with portraying the logo on the front of the building is to kind of clean the redundancy of the two windows, but then really represent the tasteful branding of the spa so that people knew where they were going, but also that it wasn't an eyesore. So we really did a lot of work to try and make that as clean and crisp as possible. And just looking for as much help from everyone as they can to help the business move forwards and be a constructive part of the community.
So you want to start?
Sure. Hi, I'm Sue. We're happy to have you. Okay, so for me, number one, I really love your new logo.
Thank you.
It's awesome. I think it's really, looks great, actually. I really do like it. As far as the application of it, I'm afraid I'm not gonna be as positive.
Okay.
I think it's nice where you have it. I like that it's not maybe on both windows and you have like it on one window and then on the other it's something else. I think that's nice. You
Yeah.
know, that it's not just two there. But as far as two things in my view, the banner that goes across the top, I think it's really difficult, and I think we struggle with keeping like a continuity with signage in general and tying all the different, everybody wants and everybody's different things together. And that banner that goes across the top does go around that in all the storefronts and around the corner. And I think, you know, I think for me at least, that banner up there does kind of help sort of make continuity to the streetscape
Mhm.
for me. So I would hate to see that go.
Mhm.
And then as far as the signs themselves, I like them and I like the color and I like the design and I like that it's two different things and there's a message, but I do think that they're too big. Just in keeping with everything else that's going on. I think where the other one, where it is now, while I like this design, I like the design better actually. I think the size that the other one is just looks, it's not quite as,
Well, one of the biggest challenges that we ran into, just in general, was in talking to people, obviously, you know, it's self-advocation for your business. You're trying to bring awareness to as many people as possible. And the number one comment I got from everyone is that they didn't know I existed because I looked exactly like everything else. And, you know, one of the challenges with keeping the banner is that everyone else is very much a food and beverage hospitality type
Mhm.
thing. I mean, obviously there's the salon, which I don't think has a banner on the top
that
of
might be
its
the
window.
only one. It kind of stops at Prairie, maybe.
Yeah,
It does like continue around.
It doesn't jump the alley.
yeah.
I think it stopped, but it does kind of go around the corner as
Yeah.
well even, you know.
Which is unfortunate because all of those businesses are Innovasi JDR-based businesses. So with that banner, it almost gets buried in their branding for their storefronts, which makes it extremely challenging for us to, you know, stand out in a way that isn't gregarious. You know, there's like some of the places next door where they just literally hang vinyl on the inside of the window. It's tacky and that's not a route that I want to go.
No, I think that's not the issue. I think
Mhm.
this is nicely done. I
Mhm.
just feel like it's big. I noticed around the corner, they did keep, I think it's side door, is it not called side
Which
door
is
anymore?
another JDR, yeah.
Yeah, they have, the banners there, but it's not, the name isn't there. I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but, and the thing is, like, I think we know that they're JDR, but I don't think your average, you know, like, just
Mhm.
visually, I don't think there's an indication of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just looks
I think for
cohesive.
them, it's just a row of restaurants and
Mhm.
then we just get buried into a little bit more restaurant
Hmm.
is really where we're running into challenges. And same thing with, you know, same thing with the size of the logo.
Mhm.
You know, they're very small compared to the actual square footage of glass. And the current logo is also a very light logo as well.
Mhm.
One of the challenges, frankly, with the current one from a visual standpoint is that it's so many different colors.
Mhm. I think this is helpful,
Mhm.
you know, and I definitely like it, but
Yeah.
it does look big, certainly compared to everything else, and I do kind of miss the banner. That's just me, though. I
Mhm.
might be outvoted.
Scott?
I also really like the logo. Very, very cool. Well done. And
Believe it or not, it was an accident.
It was an accident?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm also a little concerned about precedent, I don't know if I'd want to see all the storefronts having this size logo in all the windows, and so I struggle with that a little bit, because once we approve one, then maybe there's others that'll follow. So I don't know if there's a way we can maybe downsize this a little bit, but other than that, I really like the design and the look of it.
How much downsizing are you into, or would you be comfortable with?
I guess I would ask the question, is there a reason why they're limiting it to 15% of the windows? Is there any?
That was, just to go back in history a ways, because we struggled with sign permits for the last 35 years or so. This is where it is right now, is where it's been now for quite a few years. We had awning issues, we had all kinds of issues in the past. And we just determined that, it can be the greatest logo in the world, but the next one, if we say, well, you can go, 50% over what the requirement is, or whatever the percentage is, it's quite large. As you said, that sets a precedent. Because the next guy's logo might not be so nice.
Right.
How much
the
do you
concern.
allow it to go down? I think if we took this to the village board, they say, what are you thinking of? That's too much over the requirements. And that's just I like the logo too. I think it's great. Well, go ahead. It's not my turn to talk, so.
Well, can I ask you a question? Do we know what the largest exemption we have allowed in this district? Do we know what that is? Have we allowed anything more than 15%?
I don't think so. What we did and this goes back again, since they started down at the end. I can't think of the name, the coffee shop.
Oh, Bluffington's.
No, not Prairie.
Bluffington's.
Hansa?
Bluffington's.
Yeah.
Bluffington's.
Yeah.
Bluffington's.
Yeah.
Had the sign in the window,
Right.
the English, whatever that guy is. And that was gonna be an applique on the board.
Yeah.
And we said, no, you can't do that. But if you want to make it as a display sign, that's within the code.
Yeah, behind the
So that's-
window.
And that's a picture, that's not a logo. That's kind of, recalling what the history of this place is supposed to be.
Right.
I feel like the one that's currently there, it has like a woman or something. That's fairly large already. To me, it looks like.
You mean
it
the
is.
float stone?
Yeah,
I guess
the current one.
That's my big problem, is no one notices.
but you know what? I'm just gonna, that's been there for however many years.
Yeah.
And it's been very successful as far as I know.
Yeah.
And there's many places that don't have any advertising, but very successful. So anyway, it's not my turn. Matt, were you done, Scott?
I was done.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the exact same. I just think we can't allow 65%. I mean, that's, what's that, 3-4 times more? I mean, that's just,
Is it 65%?
45%.
where am I reading 65 then? Oh, 45, sorry. 65 was the script, yeah.
So we're doing great then at 45.
You're doing great, yeah. It would have been nice to see what that 15, to tell your story, what that following the rule would have done for you. Because your logo is, kind of 3 times the size of your name of your business. So that's where you're kind of, if you had a logo that was just a line across, right? Like Verizon, they have a little check mark. I'm just saying the logo's creating and it's a lovely logo, but that's the one that's, creating this issue for you.
Hmm.
Because we go, from width, height and width. So,
Well, and it depends on how true the calculations are, because if you're just taking your height and width, there's a lot of dead space even on.
you're right. And we understand that. That's always been the unfortunate argument that we create a box around whatever you put there.
Right.
There's no other, we're not doing a area calculation, based on, which I can understand would be
Yeah, because the area calculation is less than half of that.
100%. Unfortunately, the way our code is we just take your parameters And that's what we're, we've had the same thing with Verizon. I mean, a lot of people go up against that. I just think we can't approve at such a large exemption, just because, like you said, it's just gonna become a wall of, we like we want you to succeed, or a lot of us are small business owners one way or another, so we totally get that. I just think if you keep the name the same, I mean, the logo is lovely, but it's, the most important part is the name. And I know the logo is important, but it's creating this issue for you, so you may have to come back with a proportion between the name and the logo, or somehow distribute that the other way. And then the other side, which is right within, so right there with the percentage, I think, right? So
Yeah.
there's right now,
Over the 15%.
Yeah. so there's no issue with that at all. I just, if you came here and your logo was straight, we wouldn't be here. So their logo is creating the issue. We just need to find a way of keeping the scale of your name probably correct, and finding a way to incorporate the logo some other way. And if you shrink everything together, or you proportion it out, that the logo gets smaller and your name stays. But we'll have to do something to adjust it, I think. I don't think we're going to approve at this percentage.
Art?
Yeah, I basically agree that I like it and so forth, but the ordinance is the ordinance, and I would not be in favor of departing this far from what the ordinance requires.
I think I agree with I want to add one more thing, because I agree with everything that's been said and that I've said. But on the Discover True North, the typeface is, especially the larger type, seems like it's incongruous with everything else. It almost looks like there's another storefront there.
Mhm.
There's no relationship between the two other than what you're saying, which, if you don't look at the window and see that there's a compass there, you don't know what that means.
Mhm.
So you know what it means because you came up with it.
Right.
And it's great once you know what it means. But it shouldn't be a mystery window. So, but I'm concerned with not with what it says, but with the boldness of that typeface. It maybe could be, somewhat lighter.
I know what you mean, because the float stone is kind of spaced apart more, maybe, and then so it looks lighter, even though it might be a similar typeface. I suppose it does look, yeah.
Yeah, and it
that's
has
true.
more like that Macintosh feel to it, whatever that font is,
Yeah.
versus whatever that Arial or,
How necessary is it to have Rediscover True North on the front window? I mean, is that something that could be inside or like when you walk in?
I mean, if it was a discussion of, we can do one window or the other, I would take the compass with the logo over the Rediscover True North.
Yeah.
If it's 86 both of them, then obviously I got to start from the drawing board.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that puts the logo with the name back on the menu, then I would be absolutely willing to do something like that.
I mean, it might help just in lessening the precedent that we're setting by approving something like this.
yeah, because I think if we kind of took what you're adding up and we split it 50-50 somehow, that might be a little bit better, I mean, just because you have two windows and it feels like one's in keeping, and so we're really just judging one. But if, I don't know, like if the compass and all that on top of Floatstone, is that the logo, right? Is that what's on your, or is that just on this particular element?
I mean, on the typeface logo that goes on
Yeah.
our graphics, the Rediscover True North is just a bottom line
Because,
on it. That's much smaller, but
but I don't want to design your world, it's not mine, but if you had like Floatstone and then below that, Rediscover Your True North, and then on the other window, you had the compass and all that, and you could shrink that down a little bit. I mean, it's kind of the same things. And your tagline, which doesn't kind of mean a lot, you know, on its own. I mean, it's a great saying, but it's not, it's not a known relationship to float stone. And maybe if it's underneath that, that tells the story. And then the other one with the compass that has north, I mean, then you see the tie-in between the two. And maybe you can scale that compass down enough over there, still have your amazing logo,
Mhm.
capture all the elements that you want, without asking for us to go to 45%.
Mhm.
I
I
have
mean-
one more thought, which is, if you do get rid of the banner, if that's okay with everyone, I wonder about this because a lot of times there's cars parked, you know, and if there's no banner, that float stone that you have there is pretty low. And if there's, you know what I mean, if there's cars parked along there, I'm not sure you're really gonna see it very well. You know, you're gonna be relying on foot traffic mostly to see the logo. If it's pretty far down on the window. And so without any banner above,
Mhm.
I'm just thinking with the cars parked in front, you might not see much of it. You know, you're kind of maybe looking more at the top of that arch and, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Well,
I
I
think
can-
dysfunctionally.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, even as is, my employees have to hail down their Uber Eats people because they can't find us.
Mhm.
So, you know, the banner on the top in theory is great for brand recognition and names.
Mhm.
No one sees it.
Mhm.
So, and it's honestly, it's because psychologically you're staring at just a continuation of a restaurant face.
Yeah. But maybe if whatever direction you take, but a little bit of, so, you know, if you did the float stone with your little tagline below, you know, maybe the float stone word is like in the center where your compass is, kind of at eye level.
Up a little.
Yeah,
further
not
above the
banner height, but
cars.
maybe it's at,
Yeah.
you know, that 5'6", 5'9".
Then I'd have to start adding probably another color so that people could see it and the word didn't get lost in the logo. So, which is not, I mean, impossible, but it certainly isn't quite as clean as I wanted it.
Why would you have to add another color? I'm sorry, I'm losing you
Well,
on
if
that.
you put the float stone right in the compass,
No, I'm sorry, no, the compass moved to the other window in my scenario.
got it.
And then you put, so that's up a little bit
I
higher
see.
at eye
So you
level.
put all your words on one window.
Yeah.
And then all your graphics on the other.
Right,
call it
and
a
you
day.
proportion out, you're asking for 30% for each window, or
Mhm.
so that, you know, you're not setting a 40, whatever that percentage is,
Mhm.
just so we're not giving 45% away.
Well, even 30%, you know, I mean.
That's what I'm not saying that's right, but
Yeah,
whatever
no,
that number is.
I think what we're saying right now is, as the size is right now, it's not gonna fly. Whatever the graphic is, I don't care. It could be Rembrandt and it's not gonna fly.
Yeah.
And we're not gonna redesign the thing because you don't have that ability and that's not what you want us to do. So my recommendation, and you guys can agree or not agree, is that you kind of start with another thought. I mean, you love your logo, you know that. But see if you can adjust it to fit, probably not within whatever the 15% is. What do we allow?
You get 15% on that particular
Yeah,
window.
but
yeah.
something that is reasonable, that we can support as far as everything else that might happen down the line in the future. Because, you know, you don't realize that when you've been sitting up here for as long as we have, the number of storefronts that have come through. And some of the things that have
Mhm.
been proposed and some of the things that we've accepted and some of the things that have just, you know. This is probably the toughest thing we do.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to do a building than it is a sign. So you won't believe that, but it is, because we have all those discussions.
Because our
Anyway,
problem is your 45% is a very light approach to 45%.
Yeah.
But other people, if they take that same square footage and put just like a black square on there or whatever, you know, it's the same sign to us, which is what you're kind of up against.
So this is not what you want to hear, but these are our rules and we made them and we have to follow.
Yeah.
And if we can adjust them somewhat, but this is just too big of an adjustment. Go.
And so when I come back to you guys, it needs to be like no exceptions within 15%
No,
or,
I don't think that's what we're saying, but you know, don't go.
because when I go back to my designer, he's gonna say, well, what is allowable? And I'm gonna,
Well, what's
Should I-
allowable is 15%, but that's not going to give you what you want.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to find a happy medium.
Right.
So it's probably less than 30%, maybe 25. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out and I don't know that that isn't going to create a problem for us down the line itself.
Yeah.
And
So-
then the only other question as far as just really understanding kind of the letter of the law. When we talk about the window space, we're talking about the glass. And we're talking about specifically the glass where something sits or a conglomerate of glass in a storefront.
Yeah, for the central business district, it is the specific window that it's on,
Yes.
which is
Wow.
unlike the other, in some other districts like the industrial district,
Mhm.
it's all the windows. But
Okay.
this one, it's the specific.
So
window
the
it's
little divided light
Yeah.
at the top doesn't count.
No.
on. Right, it's not
It's-
counted.
it's
for
the
its
big
area,
panes, right.
But
yeah.
following the letter of the law, could they do 15% of every single window pane that's on the?
That's right, they could, yeah.
That would
So
be
they
for
could do the
someone
math
more
and
petty
add
than
that
I
up
am.
and try to use that as their-
So then I guess the other question that I have is I know like the other door has quite heavy graphics across their windows, probably over 60%. Was that considered okay because it wasn't a logo
Oh,
or?
it's that where you, the modesty.
Mhm, like
um,
all of the
it's
waves
like a
and,
wave-
Yeah, that's
Maybe-
right, that was not a sign, that was just a color. Yeah.
and what constitutes a sign in your book?
Well, really,
Look at the
text or
name.
graphics.
Yeah, texture and graphics, you know, that, I don't even remember the wave on the window over there.
Well, they used to have
It's just a color wave.
yeah, they used to have like
privacy thing.
a bench or like a table thing in the window where people sat, and I think they were trying to
Yeah,
put it there so people weren't looking.
Because it technically is
People are
a
sitting.
graphic. So I was just wondering if what differentiates a graphic from a sign.
Yeah, I think that's more of a functionality of the space, just to. But you can see why we're hesitant
Yeah.
about that, because the next person will come in and
Yeah,
that's
Mhm.
why we're kind of hesitant. Just to,
I think we should, as a group, give him guidance on the banner. Are we okay with him eliminating it? Or are we saying we want it there? Is, you know, I see your point. What do you guys, so just so that he doesn't go back around again and then we say, we don't want the banner there, or we do want it there, you know what I mean? Do you know you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? That little thing at the top, that little.
yeah, I
It's on
don't,
the
Is that
glass.
in this photo?
no.
No, it's, I don't know if they show it. I don't know if there's any pictures of it.
I
So-
could pull it up on Google Maps and
Yeah.
share that if you
Yeah.
want to see it.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
it just becomes part of our windowscape.
Yeah, it's like a black, it has a
Yeah,
little gold
gold.
kind of thing that goes around
Yeah.
it, and it says the name of each business
And it
across.
sticks out?
No,
No.
it's back, like back screened onto the
Yeah.
glass, I think.
Oh, okay.
If I remember right, that was originally proposed by the owners of the complex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that something they need to approve or not approve? As like the
That was-
owner, or
that
the
was
owners
part
of the
their
building?
Entire package.
Say again?
I think that was part of their entire package when they first
Yeah.
developed all that property.
Yeah, so there's the black banner right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See where it says float
Yeah.
start across, but you see how the cars,
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't be
It's okay if it goes.
hesitant
for
to
you?
take that away. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah.
there, it's not like 20 lines of those and all of a sudden he's a weird, you
Well,
know.
it does go all the way down and around.
I
the
know, but
top.
it I mean, but on either side, it kind of breaks, you know, with the wind, you know, the
It's
door.
a nice
and-
understated way of being able to find something.
For sure,
Yeah,
but
but it's not,
I wouldn't want to hold a
yeah,
Okay.
business
yeah.
All right. I
beholden
just
to
was
that.
wondering if it was there because
I'm
of the
lost here.
cars.
What do you?
So,
Right?
see
where
the
the-
black letter or the white lettering on the black band.
Yeah,
Right up here.
Yes,
Well,
right. the
all
existing
the-
sign.
Yeah.
And that
See how
was
it
a
says-
signage method when
Yeah.
but the partnership, you know, proposed this whole process.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's only the JDR restaurants and me that have it left.
Yeah.
Prairie, it's not on there.
right.
The salon, it's not on there.
Yeah.
None of the architectural firms or Bluffingtons have it on there anymore.
Yeah. I don't have a problem removing
Okay.
it.
I'm
don't-
fine if you guys
that's
all are
my-
like, never, it's fine. I don't mind it just because they all have it and I
Yeah.
feel like you can see it over the cars, but if you don't think it reflects your business well, then I just feel like it's kind of helpful, but it's just me.
If it was all by itself like it is now, but combined with what he wants to do,
Be redundant.
then it's in
Then
conflict.
you don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I think you don't need to keep it then. Are we saying he doesn't need to keep it unless he wants it?
Right.
Is kind of what we're saying? Okay.
But then that's the percentage, right?
That's another percentage, right?
That's your percentage though.
But I would also say, if you notice, can you see the logo that's on there at the moment? Because it's.
The wave,
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's very small and obstructed and there's a lot of glare. and
Yeah.
It's really difficult to see, partly because of its size.
Yeah.
And another partly because of its shape.
Yeah.
So those are two major pain points that I'm trying to alleviate with my business.
So right
don't
now,
see
when
it.
I'm sitting
it's the
here-
blue, it's right at almost the middle of the glass.
Looks like a
That
reflection.
big-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Exactly.
reflection.
To me, I'm like, I
Yeah.
kind of think the banner helps you, but that's just me. And that's the only thing I can see when I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is gonna be the same glary kind of thing?
I don't, partly because of the color and partly because of the height.
Mhm.
And that's, the height is another portion of my pain point, is that it as it stands, especially if you take the banner away, that logo looks way too small. And as those graphics stand, I believe even that logo is a little bit over the 15% if I were to just take a height and width and include the banner up top. My guess is when they did put the signs in, you guys probably weren't including the banner on the top as part of the estimate. But that's really a part of it there.
So currently it's a logo with text below it.
Correct. And it's identical between the two windows,
Did you do that or did the previous owner do that?
previous owner.
Okay, so you're inheriting that whole setup.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah, I
So,
don't know.
I mean, there's 1,001 ways that I could calculate the actual weight and square footage of it, but
But you got our roads.
Yeah.
You know, there's thousands, we've gone, we've been through this.
Yeah,
I've been sitting here for 49 years,
mhm.
believe it or not, 45 years.
Yeah, wow.
Been in town 49 years.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Yeah.
and so we've been up and down this road many, many times and, you know, we're willing to give some, but we can't give away the store. And
How
I
much
see
are
that
you,
yeah.
I mean, how much do I have
Yeah.
to work with then?
somewhere between this and that.
yeah.
I think, would it be helpful for us to see, if you did bring in one option that is actually 15, so we can see what that is, just so we know, and then whatever is between that 15 and this, that, you know what I'm saying?
But the issue is the logo's creating the issue,
Right.
not the verbiage, not the letters.
Mhm.
He's kind of unfortunately creating his, and I appreciate that, but you're creating your own kind of dilemma because we do incorporate the whole rectangle.
Yeah.
Chairman Hunter.
Yes,
So the argument has been made to the board before that the sign is a lot more, is not opaque. In other words, there's a considerable amount of it is
yes,
glass.
yes, because
And that hasn't moved anybody's,
no.
that hasn't moved the needle. Okay.
It really hasn't. And it's the way we finally calculated it, and this is some years ago, I don't know, that for you?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
for me, yeah.
You know, because there's so many ramifications of what can happen inside that box.
Mhm.
It can be solid, it can be lines like this.
Yeah.
But in any event, it fills up a certain amount of the space, the window. And fair or not, that's the rule.
Mhm.
And like I say, we're willing to deviate some, I don't know how much. It depends on the circumstance, but not,
Yeah.
not to give away the whole store.
Why is it that the banner, though, you can read it so much clearer than, is it just?
It's
where-
well, it's a black background with white letters, so it's not on the glass. You don't have the reflective property.
Because I'm just wondering if, even though this is one color and all, I'm wondering if you're gonna just run into that same thing there. You know? I
It
wonder-
looks like the existing sign is probably on the inside side of the glass. Is that right?
No, it's on the outside.
It's on the outside. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that is just applied right on
Applied.
it. There's no reflection.
Yeah, it's a solid.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm. Yeah, and really what the issue with it is that it's so linear that when the sun hits, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it obstructs the whole sign instead of part of the sign.
Anybody else? I mean, I know you're looking for some direction and I think
Yeah.
we've given you as much as we can. It's not direction.
Yeah.
Uh, Who's got a thought?
So I think we're saying you don't need to do the banner. It potentially doesn't need to be 15%, that we're willing to consider something bigger, but not this big.
And
That-
not 2 times.
Yeah. Is that kind of where is that the
I
direction
think
we're
so,
giving?
yeah.
Kind of?
Yep.
If that sounds like mud, it kind of is. But but I think that's what kind of where we are. And
Oh, yeah. I personally would say to try to move the word floatstone up on the window, but that's me, but that's up to you, obviously. But I feel like it's kind of low without the banner personally, as far as locating where you are. If that's your main concern is people can't find you. I mean, you do have it a little bit over the door there in those letters, but it's hard to see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know that I agree. I think Floatstone kind of anchors, you mean the lettering underneath the compass?
No, I think it's great, but I think it's low on the window.
Oh, I see
to-
what you're saying.
Because there's cars parked a lot of times in front of there. And I just feel like without the banner that says Floatstone, that where it is currently is pretty low. And you got the plants in front of it. I just feel like if your main concern is people can't find you.
Well, if things are reduced in proportion.
Well,
Yes.
the
they'll-
irony is that when people are in their car, they have their GPS, they can find it just fine. It's actually people who are walking up and down that literally are walking right past us, can't see us.
We've had arguments up here about there doesn't need to be any signage because everybody's doing this now. They can find it.
Yeah.
Well, what about, okay, one last thing. Matt, what about those blade
The blade signs.
I mean, there's a precedent for those.
Mhm.
And if you're worried about people walking and not finding you, there's, if you know where Prairie and, they have the signs that come out. So as you're walking down, you see those. I mean, we've approved those before.
Yeah, and it's not
Okay.
giant, it's,
You could add, if you're gonna take away the banner, maybe you add that. And that would maybe help people who, if you're worried about people walking and not finding you, that might be one option.
And just to head that horse off at the pass,
Uh-huh.
how big is too big? On those?
Of that,
I think there's guidelines for
how
that
big
one.
is?
the blade sign.
Just keep them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're kind of lined up.
Yeah,
Yes,
there's
yes.
like
So just
3
keep
of
it
them.
consistent.
Prairie started it and then JDR followed suit with a couple.
I think they're all about the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Those are great for the pedestrian, because you
Yeah.
can
Like
see them
what,
from far
15
away
by
when you're walking
24
up the
something like
sidewalk.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, they're, I think
Yeah.
we did Prairie like that.
One of those things bigger than 1624.
Huh?
They're bigger than 16 by 24.
Yeah, but you can,
I haven't walked down that street in a long time. now.
can you pan over just a smidge
Sure.
to the left?
I know when you first did that, and we
There's
said
something
that's gonna
hanging
set
there,
a
but
precedent, we thought, well, that's not a bad precedent.
Yeah,
Right.
I liked it. Yeah, I
like
mean,
it too.
Prairies.
yeah. Yeah, that's,
Yeah, it's helpful if you're walking on the. when you're
Yeah.
walking
Yeah.
on the
I mean, if
sidewalk.
that's
and like,
fine.
and we didn't put words, on it was just denoted what, demarcated where the business was.
Mhm.
But you
Am I
could-
allowed to put words on it?
Yeah, people, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your logo would look great on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
good.
And that's not a, in lieu of, right? That's just in addition to. That's right.
Right.
We just said that's just kind of
Bonus.
a gift.
Just a bonus.
It's a bonus, yeah, which is a good bonus. And I like that.
Very
It adds
benevolent.
some character, some depth to the street.
Good thought.
Yeah, always a thought.
That's all we can
Good.
give you.
No problem in this world my money can't solve.
Okay.
Exactly.
Do we,
So. I don't know what else we can say.
do we just deny for now when he comes back or without giving any other
I think we've
information?
given enough,
Yeah.
enough thoughts.
Yeah.
Do you want the board to vote on the existing sign as is, or are you happy to revise and come back?
Does it delay the process if you vote?
Not really.
No.
I would just,
I don't see, if you want to, if you.
I
Why
wish
don't
to
I,
do that,
why don't I come
I
back
would
with
say we
something
don't
more
need to-
appealing?
yeah, I would just Irish
Denying
exit.
something doesn't sound right.
Yeah, yeah,
it feels-
yeah, I don't
feels
want-
bad.
yeah.
Yeah, welcome to Lake Bluff.
yeah.
But we like your logo and we're happy you're here. We
Yeah,
want you to
surely.
succeed.
Very good.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Okay,
Thanks.
All right.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next then is,
71 Waukegan Road
yep,
for the Endeavor Health.
Endeavor Health. Anybody hear from that? Yes, okay. So this is almost a slam dunk.
So I'm McKenna with Modern Signs, so I'm the representative here for Endeavor. We are the sign company that would be installing the signs, removing them, and then applied for the sign permit. So this location is at 71 Waukegan Road. So North Shore is currently there. They have one box sign on the wall and two monuments.
Mhm.
And then Endeavor bought them out and would like to do a rebrand of their signage. And they just wanted to use the signs that are existing on site and replace them. So they're asking to replace two monument signs, but they do want new foundations. It'd be in the exact same spot that they're in now, but new foundations would go in. And then, but we would use existing electric. Now, on the wall, there is a cabinet there right now. They're asking for channel letters.
I actually like the channel letters better.
Yeah.
So, if you're aware of the code change from the first, okay. There was a sleight of hand there,
Yes.
which was not,
I have to say, I don't know what channel letters are.
Okay, so they're individual mounted letters. So sometimes they go on a raceway, which would be a box mounted to the wall that has the power inside it. Channel letters are individually drilled and secured to the wall, and the power will be behind that wall.
yeah, it's a much cleaner, instead of
Yeah.
a big.
So
white-
is that what you're showing here where it says on the on the building where it says Endeavor Health? like
Yes.
that? Oh, that looks so nice.
Yeah.
And we don't really look at all the inside stuff. I know you got a whole sign package here, but that's
Yes,
not.
yes.
That's not,
Just shared everything.
that's a big improvement.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's great.
Anybody got, Art, you got any comments? Start at your end?
No, I don't, other than to ask, are the signs essentially the same size?
Yes,
Is the existing, so
yep.
it's
They're just looking for brand new
simply
foundation.
a
That should be the
different
only thing.
name and
changing.
design.
Yes.
Yeah, the one at the intersection is actually smaller than the existing, right? Because the code changed and
Oh,
it's to
yep,
meet the
yep.
current code,
Yeah,
yeah.
And
right.
they-
The one is a little
dealt
bit
with it.
smaller, the
Right,
other one's
yeah,
the same
exactly.
size.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Matt?
No, the only, just with the Endeavor Health, the channel letters, those are individually lit then? Is
Yes.
that inside and that's it, all simple? I'm just curious, the blue, that doesn't light up the three little,
That
Or-
would light up.
that lights up
Yes,
also?
yep.
Okay, just curious, no. With that, is that on its own plate, like one big plate behind it, or are they individual?
No, so
I'm-
what they're gonna do is, however they engineer it,
Yeah.
there's gonna be junction boxes behind the wall in a dry area for
Yeah.
electrical. And so there's existing, so there should be boxes there that are currently connected to the sign that's there. And then we're just gonna switch it out with the channel letter.
So you don't have like that, some of them have like a main kind of horizontal track that they all,
No.
these are right to the building?
Yes,
Very nice. Okay, thank you.
And is that backlit or does it actually project?
No, it'll be facelit.
I think it looks great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? We need a motion to do something.
I move to approve as submitted.
Second,
I'll second that emotion.
30 seconds. We need a roll call? Do
Yeah,
roll call,
we should
sure.
do a roll call. Okay. Member Wicks.
Aye, or approve, yes.
Yeah, aye. Member
Thumbs up.
Strader.
Aye. Sorry.
Member Strader.
He's
Aye.
aye.
Yep, okay. Member Control
Aye.
We got this.
and Chairman Hunter.
All right,
Okay, motion passes.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Approved.
Sign companies love rebranding. So. Can you imagine all of the- They were North Shore,
Peter.
North Shore.
Yeah.
All of the,
Oh, so it's just
yeah, they bought on North Shore,
oh, wow.
or they rebranded, who knows?
So we
Black
do have
Rock
some
owns
people on
everything,
the
I'm
Zoom,
sure.
I'm sure they're for.
That's my
one. this
way I'm
one.
going through life right now.
So
Oh,
we
we
should
do?
just ask if they have any comments at the end. At the end.
Okay. All right, Peter, just to recap, last time Peter was here, we had some discussion about some details. That suggested that he go before the village board and get the approval subject to our final thing here, hopefully tonight. And he did that, right?
Yes,
And
yep.
they've gone ahead with that, so it's up to us. We are in power.
Yeah, and so basically we had three items that we wanted to look at, just to remind everybody. One was the arch over the garage, which I thought was a good idea to sort of de-emphasize that. The second being the front entranceway, details of how that was and sort of upping that in terms of its weight. And then the third was the porch details on the corners to look at a different type of detailing for that. We also updated the landscaping plan so it coordinates with our plan a little bit better. We put the possibility of having a sidewalk along the north edge if there access to the unit in the northeast corner. We also, just a couple other little things. So we go to the next slide. The two fencing materials are there. That's new too. So the solid fence would go across the north and then on the east property too. And then the metal fence would go across the south to enclose the different units in that way. Then this is the west elevation, which shows the new arch design, which is in between the two pilasters. And it's way more subtle than the previous, I think. It looks, we looked at all the different possibilities of changing the size and everything. I think it was,
Looks
we
great.
lowered the water instead of raised the bridge, or
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it seemed to be pretty natural and all that. So I was very pleased with that. Then the next one we can go, oh, you know what? Go back to that one. Just go back. So you can see the porch. So we talked about this last time. Is it a thing to explore? And what we thought made a lot of sense is to give the porches more weight and to do them actually out of heavy timber. And so I think that pulls the thing around. And so we're going to make them out of 12 by 12 heavy timber. We're actually get a heavy timber. Do we have enough of them? Because we have 4 of them. So we can order them through a heavy timber manufacturer who does that kind of thing. We've done that before with a couple other projects, and they make the brackets and everything too, and chamfer the corners of them and do all the detailing for us. So they'll come out for that way. Still have the metal railings and then the metal infill, which will be black, and the wood would be brown. So I think it does kind of two things. One is we're worried about the long-term maintenance of them, and the railings are really what falls apart in that they're all solid wood, keeps them all together. So we're not doing anything. So I think we were pretty happy with that solution. You can see that one, the one on the right gets obscured by the landscaping there. And then the one on the, that doesn't have screening, which it could if the owner would want to put the screening in it. And then the one on the corner will have the screening in it. You can go to the next slide then. Then the entrance piece that we looked at was to add stone and recess the door, which really just marks the entrance a little bit better. We felt like it kind of fit with the building a little bit better. We did play around with whether we make the pilasters all the way up be stone or not, whether it be brick or not. And we do it both ways. It kind of got lost a little bit if it didn't have it, is what we thought. The address then would be above the door, and the year of the building built be in the block in the pediment above it. So I think these are similar details to other buildings and done sort of historically and fit within this, gives it a bit more emphasis to the front entry. So I thought that was really a good comment of our last meeting and the direction that would make sense. The corner, you can see then that the how the screening would work behind it would have the black metal, which would keep thin, and then the larger half timbers would be the frame itself, and then it has the large corner brackets at the corner for that. The metal railing will have the uprights that are larger will match up with the uprights of the screen porch below it, because we'll need a little bit more support on that. It won't be able to span all the way across here. So that picks up, and I think all that sort of makes a lot of sense to us now. So the next one is just a little bigger detail of how that is. I mean, it's kind of nice way we can almost, photorealistically do it. So you can pick up the little details where it has the chamfering on the corners of the beams themselves, which really, I think it adds a lot to the piece. So there's just a little more details there. Then the next one. Then Mike brought up that we didn't quite have enough foot candles at the stairs going down to the emergency egress out of the garage. So we'll add some footlights in there, which will in the sidewall and just light that up and keep that low there. So we showed that before there. And then we got a plan from Tesco and Associates who looked at the knuckles. And so we incorporated their design into ours, which puts a knuckle at the corner, adds a few furniture, a bench and a couple planters at the corner too. So we've incorporated that into our design. They took our design and just sort of added to it. So they looked at that and we'll incorporate that. And that's just the last one. I think that just shows the benches in the landscaping there that they were proposing. I think that's it for, I do have the other presentation that I had in case we need to refer to it, but I just figured through it. It's the rest of this. So that's where we are.
That's it? Okay. All right, you want to start?
Yeah, the question I had was regarding the Casca, the drawing shown, the work shown on the Casca drawings. Is that all of this going to be done in conjunction with this project, or?
We talked to Drew about it, and we'd like to get it all done together. I mean, it kind of makes sense if we're going to do it. It's just about, we weren't really excited about paying for the library side and all that, but I think it makes sense. So I think that, what we were going to do is get pricing for it all and see what it costs. And I don't want to negotiate something I had no idea what it was going to cost.
Right.
But it does make sense, the library's going to do their side and they do it. So we're going to do, the other thing is we need to update our engineering to do that too. It doesn't reflect that. We might end up adding a curb drain in to pick up some water, and that's, Mike brought that up, which I think is probably not too hard to do and tie in our side, but we'll have to get through the engineering on that too. But I think the intention is to do it all together.
That's basically the only question I had.
What?
That's the only question I had.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it looks right. My only question, just when because you said do you mind going to the main elevation?
Yeah.
Is on the, your limestone, the tall, Cause I'm kind of
I know.
creating where we only do.
Yeah.
There I go. Yeah,
You
I
know,
would,
I would look at that again too,
Yeah.
because I'm torn on that too,
it's,
because it just kind of feels
right
like,
now I see a guy doing this.
I know, I don't know. I mean, I had a kid go to.
So
the
I would
Notre
rather
Dame,
get,
so I kinda
yeah,
like
I would
that,
rather
but
just get rid of those, do the limestone at the front and
I-
call it, do the rest as is. I think,
I'd be good with that too, because it does yell a little bit more, and when you see it down the street, I think it's probably,
Yeah.
it's a little too much.
yeah, that, I think everything else is lovely. If it was me, I would save you a little bit of money, take away that limestone and call it a day.
Yeah, no, I would agree with
Yeah.
that. You know, because when I saw you, I watched you fold the thing.
Yeah.
I
No,
kinda see where
sorry.
you're going with that. I don't
I'm
disagree.
trying to be quiet, but
No,
then
no,
it's too
no,
thick of paper.
That's,
And he colored.
oh,
it,
he colored it in. Yeah,
I
no,
don't bring my-
I mean, that's what's great about this process, I think,
Yeah.
because we can have a bunch of people looking at it.
Yeah,
It becomes really monumental.
yeah,
I expect to see, cannons on the front yard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or minarets, I mean,
Yeah.
When
I saw
when
minarets,
you
but
add those,
it's
yeah.
all good.
But I think, as I was looking at the flow and those buildings, I mean, we fit that whole language, so I think it's great.
Yeah,
think
yeah.
it's
Everything else is
They
lovely.
think we don't have signage going in this.
Yeah, I love everything else is
We'll
really,
talk about that.
Yeah. No, we don't have any
Yeah.
signs.
Scott?
I love all the changes. I love the front entry. I think the jack arch over the parking is great, big improvement. And I really like the heavy timbers on the porches. In fact, I would even encourage you to consider enhancing those even more so that they almost stood proud of the brick. I think it's a great feature, but
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky because I don't know. I mean, I think in some ways, I think it'd be a little bit,
how big are those now? What's the dimension of the?
they're 12 by
footprint?
12s.
Oh, 12 by 12.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah, so they could grow a little.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would.
What's
if-
so much, are you
The-
asking what the square footage? or
no,
are you asking
I think
timber
each
itself?
column.
Okay.
Or you're asking
Oh,
what
no,
they-
I was.
You're
asking,
saying pull them out in
what's
front of
the
the
You're
brick.
saying pull
What's
them
the
out.
footprint of the porch itself?
Oh, the
Yeah.
footprint of the, they're like 12 by 16.
Yeah.
They're good size. I mean, they're not small.
Yeah.
It's a big amenity that people really look forward
Yeah.
to. And we still have a little ways to get our working drawings done and everything. So, there's a lot of tiny little tweaks that
tweaks,
we will
yeah.
do.
Like a little tucked in, like.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of way we thought of them before and
Now they're sort of fabulous.
Yeah,
So
they are.
maybe you
Yeah.
should like crowd them out a little more.
I'm
But the
gonna
only
butt
thing-
in,
Yeah.
Because way back, I think the first time you came here, the suggestion was made by me or somebody or by everybody, that maybe you
pull them back in.
pull them either out or in. I'm hearing pull them out, just,
We
Yeah.
weren't there the
Hold
first
on.
time, so we have all,
Yeah.
Yeah, you got,
Yeah.
we
The
get all
the
the
only
free.
thing that's a little bit weird is
Yeah.
that, half timber
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily go with this style.
Yeah.
I mean, because we went down, Market Square and you go in the underwalks on those things
Yeah.
and they have really stone and half timber together and that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So, the only thing is that, it's going to make the half timber that much more strong and I'm not sure that's really right.
what you want to do.
Yeah, that's the only issue is I kind of have, because it's not
You're
100%.
kinda
Yeah,
easing it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Nice, you-
Oh, that's very lovely. It's a subtle tweak, but.
Yeah.
It would, yeah. I would,
You'd almost have to change the material maybe to like, more of a,
I like the timbers.
I mean, if you're pulling them proud, like how does that engage in front
to
of the
me, I'd
building?
have to do them in stone then.
Yeah.
That's what I
Or-
would think. That's why. I
Or
kinda
like a
removed-
metal, like
Yeah.
a grate, kind of that,
Yeah, I know. We've thought of
yeah,
that. but it's
I'm sure
just-
you have.
it-
I'm gonna butt in again, just to ask the question, is the piece that's going up against the wall, is that like a half piece?
Yeah.
Anchored to the wall?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't see it because it's kind of rounded.
Yeah.
I really like these perspectives
Yeah.
because you see them in
It's so
perspective as
crazy.
opposed to elevation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So you
know.
really see it the way it is,
Yeah.
which is really unique.
Yeah.
The first time I've really barely done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Which I think, I think it's a good thing that you really see the way it is.
Yeah, but
Of course.
Yeah. Not, yeah,
Oh, not yet.
you're not the
Sorry.
controller.
We're done.
Scott, you have more?
No, that's it.
Okay, so
Don't say
I,
just one more thing.
Yeah, I know, she
I know.
Columbo's
I'm
it.
like,
They
just
all
one more
Columbo
thing.
it.
Okay, it's my turn. All right, so I think it's great. Like, I really think I like the arch. I like the way that those like timber things sort of echo that. I like the hierarchy of like entrance, then you got the corners and you have the arch. I just like all that. I agree definitely with these things, maybe better, not necessary. But then I did have, the only question I was also asking about the porchway. In this picture, it looks dark, like it's stained a dark color, which I do actually like because it kind of goes with the windows and all of that. But if it's timbers, you don't stain it, right? Or can you stain it?
Yeah.
It will be stained.
It will be
Yeah,
stained.
It'll be stained. What I want to do is distinguish between metal and wood. And,
Right.
You know, wood should be brown and metal should be black.
Right.
And so that's kind of what, that's what
Yeah.
they are.
Okay,
Yeah.
but
In,
could
in
it
that
be-
picture, it's because of this rendering of the daylight of the time that we render it.
Ah,
It
okay.
shows it a different color.
okay.
So, which is, it's gonna
Right.
be brown.
Okay, so,
The brick's a different color too.
right.
That's because of the sunlight of the time of the day it's
Yeah.
hitting.
Yeah, it's great.
And my printer.
Right.
Running out.
Well, I like the attention to, in this one, I like the attention to the details of how it looks very carefully done with like the smaller bracket. I like that. I think it's very, it looks carefully done. And I think I like the details and all of that. I think for me, the color of the brown would be a little bit important. You know, like in some ways, one of them looks very reddish and kind of, and then some looks
We're
more,
we're
like
gonna
you'd
use a
blend it with
really
the-
dark, deep brown
Okay,
color,
good.
not a red.
not,
no-
because
no.
this one
It-
here
No, yeah, no, I,
looks super,
yeah.
that
no,
one, I'm like, I don't know
I get-
about that. You know,
I
you
get-
know,
I know what
okay.
you
Talked about the Market Square color.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Okay.
basically the color that we'll
Okay.
use.
Like
I
that
like
Tudor,
that.
Yeah.
dark
Nice.
Tudor
Yeah,
brown.
yeah, Tudor
Yeah.
brown, it
Perfect.
basically is what it is,
Um,
yeah.
And then I think and I also really like the way you added the sort of coach lights on either side.
That's one of the things that we kind of like,
Yeah.
getting rid of the arch thing that we had over the copper. It really wasn't the right language for this building. It really wasn't bold enough. And then we're able to add coach lights to it, which again, not only helps for the visual of it, but I just think it's a good
Yeah.
marker as
I-
front entrance.
I feel like it's really come around from the first one. It does feel more residential. It does, like, I think I think it's looking good. And then the very last thing I wanted to say was how graciously you've gone through this process with us. And I mentioned that after you left last time and everybody here said, well, it's not his first rodeo. So I
Yeah,
mean,
well, thank you. No, but it's been a great process. I mean, I think everybody has been very, one is, I think, as I said before, I think it was helpful that we went through a couple other processes here. So we kind of knew some other people and, I think the neighbors were very receptive to listen and, and we were listening too and
Yeah.
really come up with something that's going to be great. It's going to be here a long time and
Yeah.
it's going to be
I think
a
it's
big
gonna be really
improvement in
nice.
town. I mean, it's going to.
Can I make one more comment before you do?
Yeah.
And then our
When she's
person-
done.
Yeah. I think I'm done. Also, I liked seeing it across from the library. That really puts it in a perspective. Everyone was asking, but you can really see, and I think it doesn't look too tall. So that's it. That's all I got.
Okay.
Good job.
Can I have just one more?
Sure.
I'm sorry. I know I've been the full address across the front of, can you go to that front elevation?
You think it should just be the number?
I just find that.
It's a lot.
I mean, it's such an elegant building now. I mean, I don't mean now. It's such an elegant, I'm sorry. It's such an elegant building. I just like having the whole address spelled out above there feels a little, if I think about the Chicago, walking down the townhomes in Chicago, you just have,
You
Even
think
the
it should
one-
be like 120E?
I would almost do like the one for like in the glass, how the beautiful, how they do the gold letters, like in the.
No, and we've done that. The one thing is that, the Muttons kind of make it a little bit challenging in terms of that.
I appreciate that.
The fire, like, the one thing that I think we could do is lose the East Scranton Avenue and just put 120 above the door.
Yeah.
I mean, something I like about having it in the stone.
Yeah, I just think spelling the whole address out just feels a little bit different than the rest of the vocabulary, but that's, I'm just giving you my subjective.
Yeah, no,
opinion
I
here.
mean, I would like the freedom to look at that too.
Yeah.
Cause I have a tendency to think that, yeah, I agree.
I mean, it is, for us, it's just, we all know what it is, it's been 120 forever. It's not,
Well,
Maybe.
we still have not confirmed with the fire department that that's gonna be
even the address.
120.
Yeah, I'm
It could
just,
be 122.
yeah, I'm just saying,
They could make it.
I would do even just a humble, I'm done talking about it, but that's I would rather not see anything up there and just let that beautiful, I love that beautiful.
Okay, and then just, yeah, but I mean, we could also have a brass plate underneath the,
Yeah, I mean, there's,
underneath the sconce.
Yeah.
And have 120 there.
Yeah. That's-
That might be the best.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's, like Regents Row, we did that in the front.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
works pretty
Yeah,
good.
it does.
It
It's-
looks
yeah.
good, yeah. No, and it's, I think that would, it's better than having, in McKinley, we put vinyl letters on the inside, which are
Yeah.
kind of nice script, but they're kind of hokey.
I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Okay,
So I think the village is fine with, staying with the 120. It's the village engineer, Jeff Hansen, who assigns addresses, but I think he's. fine with
Okay.
keeping the 120.
okay, great.
There is a minimum 4-inch height. for
Yeah,
the letters.
that's what but I think we could still do it. That's pretty decent scale. That's 8-foot high door.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think that when you put a plaque that's good enough and we have the 4 inches, yeah, it's basically so the fireman, when he goes by there, he sees the
Yeah.
120.
Right, yeah.
I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, so I agree with everything everybody said, and it's funny that I had the same notion of the pillars. But I don't know, I think you said that you had recessed the doors.
Yeah, the front door is,
That you mentioned that, but that is really important thing
Yeah,
for us. to know, you
it's
guys.
2 feet
How
in.
far did you go?
so it's about 2.5 feet in, I think, is where
Yeah.
we have it.
It's like the,
About 2.5 feet.
yeah, it's
Okay, so
like the
that's-
full
that's not
door
the
swing.
standard.
almost.
Yeah, we wanted to, I mean, you gotta be able to put your umbrella
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
'cause
So
the
great.
door swings
So
out.
That's great. The other thing is just a detail, and I just mentioned it because when we did the replacement of all the street lights in town years ago, as little by little, they got rid of the gas lights and put in the power lights, and we went through multiple light bulb temperatures and light. So you're replacing some lights. Check with the village and see what the wattage is that's in there. I don't know what, if it's even wattage, what they call it.
Let me make sure
Jeff
I
will know what it is.
understand what you mean, because we are replacing, we have 3 new light poles that we're replacing, which are the village spec, which we got. and all
Okay.
that.
all
So
right.
that's all done. But I think also, I mean, I think your point is really well done, is because, somebody sticks 5,000 Kelvin light bulbs in the sconces, which always happens.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because Amazon just seems to like to send those out quicker.
Right.
So, yeah, so I mean, we try to get 2,700 light bulbs we'll put in these sconces, in the ones that are visible from the street too. At least initially, we'll have that.
Okay, all right, then. No. Can you, yeah.
I live right here on the corner of Oak and Center in those condos. So I just wanted to know, I thought this started out to be retail on the first floor and then residences above. No, it's always been, so it's all just residence? Okay. That's- I was just curious about that because we were wondering what the stores were gonna be, so.
Oh, yeah, so it's,
I can clarify that a little bit. When this whole thing started years ago, we've had 3 different proposals of the property, that went all the way to Evanston at the time. And at that time, the world was a different place as far as retail. And that was the thought, that it would be a mixed use, property with residential and retail below. Well, retail has pretty much gone away. And so this seemed to be the next best thing, and it fits more in with now the village's plan of more residential or multifamily. So that's that. Was that your only question? Oh, okay. But that's just how the background.
Yeah.
Sorry you didn't ask at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's here for the whole time.
Hour and 10 minutes for,
all the way through
if-
on
There
the
was some people
signage.
online?
Yeah, if any of the other people on Zoom want to speak or ask a question, just press the button to raise your hand if you want to speak, any of you on Zoom. I don't see anyone raising their
Okay,
hand.
nobody's
so,
raising their hand.
yeah.
All right, well, then I think we got this one licked, and this is going back to nowhere. You're done.
I
So,
think that-
we need to vote on this?
Yeah,
Formalize
that's
it?
right.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yes,
Anyone else? No?
I'm not a motioner. I stumble.
you're the motion guy.
Okay, I move to approve the development at 120 East Scranton with the following revisions, that the limestone piers will be replaced with brick to match the other piers, that the address above the front door will be replaced with some type of plaque or other
Classy nature.
classy nature. Yep, that's exactly the big word that we were looking for.
In technical terms.
In technical terms, I think that's all we had, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yep.
Great.
And thank you so much.
Yeah,
I mean,
thanks.
Truly.
Thank you for all your time and effort. I really appreciate
You know,
it.
I gotta support Peter. You know, I've known him for many, many years, and he worked for me for how many years? 10 years?
About 10 years, yeah.
Yeah,
Did a lot of things together.
and we did a lot of things together.
Yeah. no, it's-
And he was just like he is now.
Yeah.
Just
Except
a
a
little
lot
more
younger.
gray, a little
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
A little bit more.
And I had a little more hair too. So, Anyway, thanks, Pete.
Yeah, no,
It's
thank
been
you.
great.
Look
We
forward to
appreciate
doing-
what you're contributing to our.
Yeah,
humble
no, we're
little
hoping
village.
that,
Someone
you know,
to
we
second the
can, I
motion.
know there's
Yeah.
more
Oh, hey,
projects
we-
in-
yeah.
in like Bluff, and we're hoping to do other things here
We
too.
we gotta have somebody second the
Yeah,
motion.
someone say.
Second.
Okay,
Okay, roll call.
okay.
We're not done yet.
Um,
Oh,
Member
We're all
Cottrell,
packing up.
Yeah, we're,
Aye.
Member Caraway.
aye.
Member Stradiff,
Aye.
Member Wicks, and Chair Hunter.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. I would actually like to show the group something on another topic on 105 Albrecht.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right, you approved it with, but you also made some suggestions for changes, and they took your suggestions and made the changes I think you were asking for. So they moved around.
Thank you.
I didn't either.
Let me share my screen so you guys can see it too. That would help.
You had it.
Two elevations, yeah.
Ooh,
just
dissolved.
We
just
So they moved around where the high points are with the blue,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that you see on the second row there, the west and east elevations are moved to the corners, so that the higher spot wraps the corners and you don't see the side edges of.
nice.
I think I was gone for this,
Oh, that looks better.
Oh,
which
yeah,
it
were
doesn't
you?
matter.
Yeah.
but-
okay.
Where, what kind of building is this?
This is
Or-
105 Albrecht, which is just south of the Target outlots.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
Where the self-storage place is. So
Yep.
this is for
Okay,
storage of the cars. You know,
Right.
These are
Yep.
long buildings.
But this is
that
the-
run east-west in the south
Yep.
parking lot of that.
Sure. Okay,
of
thank you
that
for-
Property.
yeah, okay.
Good for them.
Yeah.
So do you mind, just tell me, so the blue and the brown material is like a Lucabond or
It's
is,
all metal.
yeah,
it
just
is,
some kind
yeah.
of
That's
panel
right.
system?
Yeah.
And then the remaining is the same system, just a different color?
Yeah,
That's
it was
right.
different
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Looks
all
good,
right.
guys.
Yeah, big
Yeah.
improvement.
Yeah.
They had bigger jumps in the
Yeah, there
prior
was like
drawings, too.
all up
They were
and
like 4
down.
Oh,
foot.
yes.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Yeah, that's really, that's cool.
Yeah.
Good for them.
I don't
Let's
know
see.
what else we can tell the guy, but he insists on having, he thinks he's gonna get the fine car storage out there. And I know a lot of people
Yeah.
that store fine cars.
Yeah.
And they don't, he wants to put a sign out,
No,
and that's the last
No.
thing you wanna do.
yeah, you don't draw attention to it.
We're storing Ferraris.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on in.
Yeah,
Come and get
we,
your Ferrari.
Yeah,
unsecure.
it doesn't have to be a Ferrari, it can be.
No, yeah,
anything.
anything,
Yeah.
yeah. No, yeah, that's exactly
So
right.
I did have a quick question. So when we approve something, we're like, okay, yes, go. And then if someone doesn't really do that, do we ever go back and say, hey, you didn't do that?
Yeah.
We do? Because you know the guy who came in.
Narc.
Yeah, the guy, okay, you know, on that little outlet where like the Benjamin Moore.
Yeah,
paints,
uh-huh.
okay, we approved.
The van guy?
Yeah, he's a van guy, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Oh,
he
yeah.
had a temporary kind of vinyl sign up there that was temporary. And then we approved one that was a nicer one. But then he just moved the vinyl one over and got a new vinyl one
Mm.
that looked like the one that we approved, but what we approved was not a vinyl,
Yeah.
it's just tacked up there
Oh,
still.
okay, I'll go take.
Is that the one that has the whole menu of
Wait, wait,
everything?
wait a minute,
Yeah.
now, the van guy, did he ever come in here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Because,
did,
you know,
yeah.
the sign for the taekwondo,
Yeah,
whatever that guy,
yeah.
his sign is still up on the
Yeah.
post.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Is
something's
it up on
not
the
quite
post? I thought
right over
somebody
there.
took their stuff
I don't
down or
recall
something.
I
it
can't
either.
quite remember.
oh, yeah, no,
what-
remember he had like 40 things that they do to
like a
vans? It was
menu,
an awful
yeah.
menu.
Little busy.
yeah, and it was
Yeah.
like orange.
I
Yeah.
must have been gone that night, because I don't remember that.
Yeah, I must have been.
You
It's
guys
a,
blocked it out.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah, it was very, like,
Very wordy.
not
But you know,
signage.
it's, I mean, he probably, I'm sure he just didn't have a lot of money and everything, but it doesn't quite look like what. I think
Yeah.
he was supposed to maybe replace that orange
Oh, yeah,
sign,
yeah,
but he
it was
just moved it
all-
over and then he put another one, but the other one is actually still
Yeah.
vinyl and it like a
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
like-
Yeah.
I'll dig
Temporary
that out.
vinyl.
temporary thing, and that's
Yeah.
just now tacked up as well.
Yeah.
And that
okay.
whole
Do they,
thing,
do they call an inspection when they're done with the
They're
sign?
supposed to, yeah, I don't
But
think you
they
did.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
I have a
right.
couple of projects like that in my life.
Yeah.
Let's just not, keep the bond. keep-
I always just feel bad for that whole area over there.
Yeah,
Like, does-
it's always been, I'm telling you,
Does the village, like, could we ever like petition, like, did the village ever?
It's not the
donate-
village. Well,
What
yeah,
is
it's
Well,
it?
some of it is.
some of
Yeah.
it, not all.
it is.
Right.
Like, could we
yeah.
like, do they ever
Yeah.
donate money to fix up places? Like, you know how we gave 100,000 for the pickleball? Like, do we ever like, can we petition someone to fix it? It's so bad.
Yeah, yeah.
No?
The road's
Yeah, I
bad.
think we're just assuming one of these days it's gonna redevelop. IDOT's gonna make some big changes with the
Yeah.
road. but
Really? Oh,
They've
maybe,
they've put their project off also.
Yeah.
You know, it's probably a few years away
Yeah.
still.
so will the IDOT like affect that area?
It will, it's because
Not in a
the
good way.
the frontage road is gonna change. It's gonna swing out toward the tracks, so it's gonna
Oh.
take off a couple pieces of the building
That's interesting.
to the east of there.
Also, maybe that'll be an impetus to like kind
might
of
be,
fix it up. a
yeah.
bit
And the
It
more.
whole
might
other
be.
side's for sale, like the entire
Yeah, right,
stretch of.
But that
all
type
those
of
houses.
configuration is not
Right.
gonna be that different.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. that-
but the,
It's
He's
just
had
like
that
that
for sale
giant
forever, those
yellow
four homes.
building and just, it looks
Yeah.
trashy. over-
Well, is
just the whole
IDOT gonna
thing.
make changes as to how you get on and off
yeah,
41?
Heading north
Yeah.
and south?
They're gonna eliminate all the individual driveways to the north. But the entrance and exit ramp stays about where it is, but it's gonna be a much longer
Yeah.
entrance ramp.
It is,
So basically where the frontage road is, they're gonna take some of that to make a long gradual entrance. ramp.
Okay, so yes, right.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
on
Okay,
the
so
other side,
It'll give them a little bit more like a typical
Yeah. right.
interchange.
I know.
on the
freeway.
east side,
Right,
it's gonna be a
exactly.
totally different
yeah,
situation, but now, I didn't know this until I was up in your office last week.
Oh, yeah.
That the water reclamation did, they're gonna redo the water line all the way up here, so you can see what they're doing, they're putting flags out and you can see where it's going,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
not apparently where I thought it was by Target. Are they going across the street? And but there's gonna be a fortress built in what would it be, the northeast corner before you cross 41. There's 3 little houses there with their own little frontage road,
Yeah.
and then there's a blank piece of property.
So this is not Jawa's water
This-
main. This is the
This is
pump,
the
the
pumping.
pumping of the stormwater out of.
Oh,
from
they're
under
doing a
the
Oh,
pump
yeah,
house?
that's right.
They're making a
Yeah,
pump
that's
house?
So
water.
right now they have their pump house in the bridge abutment, but they're gonna
Oh.
do a new pump house. Yeah, right. In the
Oh,
parking
yeah.
lot.
In the
parking
parking
lot.
lot,
of
yeah.
the-
Like
So they-
across from the granite place on that side?
No. the
Oh,
other
on the
side.
other side?
Yeah,
Where the
on
apartment
northeast
is.
corner. Yeah, by
the
the
northeast
office, by the office building.
Yeah, by our
parking
office
lot,
buildings.
The office building parking
Yeah,
lot.
How
Yeah.
big's a pump
So
house?
they're,
it's gonna be big.
they
and it's
pump
gonna
the
be a real
water
ugly
from
thing with.
where,
what
under,
what'd
where
you
the
say, it's-
where the bridge is?
Yeah, from the underpass to the river. there.
Okay,
to
in
the
both
east.
underpasses or just one?
Just that one.
Where they're even talking.
You know, when you're
Further
heading
down
north,
on-
if you're
on
heading
77.
north,
That's not the-
you go past all the car
That's the
dealerships,
pumping.
right?
Are we still on?
And then you
Yeah,
go
we're
under
still
the
on, we're still
viaduct,
on.
Yeah.
and as you turn
We
into
gotta-
Lake Bluff,
Somebody wanna move to
Yeah.
I
adjourn?
moved that.
Parking lot,
we,
I think to the
reset
north.
Or adjourn.
It's gonna
Adjourn.
be
All
a
in
pump
favor?
house.
All right, say aye,
Okay.
guys.
Aye.
Interesting.
Meeting is adjourned.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
There you go.
Huh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was confusing the two then. Yeah, no, I wasn't. So that's the pumping station.